There we go. Okay, sorry about that. For some reason, OBS has been defaulting. Yeah, sorry. For some reason, when I start up OBS, it's not being defaulting to my microphone. I think the Mimic is starting to take over somewhat. Cheese of the day is Parmigiano Reggiano, which is a hard Italian cheese. It is about 10 a.m. breakfast time. You should be able to hear me now, right? I can see that you can. Hello, Jordan. Brian H. Mr. L. John Coulter. Have we delved into the lore of the Pelennor? No. Hey, Tia. Jam the Use. Epic Thulu. Moondog. Ratch Durastrix, who's been here since the start. Moonring. Hey, Keith. Horn King, hello. Brent. 4 p.m. in Philly. That's a good time to have a stream. Hey, Spike. Ever tried a provolone vernigia? No, I have not. Sharper than Reggiano. Wow. I'd be keen. I like a good sharp cheese. Yeah. I thought, you know, people stare at the microphone and like, why not make my Yeti mic a little bit more exciting? Hey, Hartley. Okay, so today in this live stream, we're going to do an adventure, homebrew an adventure. So I'm not doing encounter by encounter, you know, discussing monsters, things like that. It's more like planning the way that I plan adventures for players before the game starts. Now, normally, of course, this is done with I'm just doing this by myself, so I don't have the input of the players, and I don't have what characters are going to be playing in this. So it's almost like I'm planning a one shot that I'm going to take to a convention or game shop or something like that, where I don't know who's going to be playing and what characters they're going to play. Normally, if I was going to do that, I'd also homebrew. I would also pre-make some characters, a selection of characters, and give them to play. Usually about 3rd or 4th level. It's almost 9:10 here in the UK. Yeah, it would be 10 in the UK, but we have daylight savings, of course. But normally in the UK, it's the exact opposite. So if it's in the morning here, it'll be in the evening, but the same time in the UK because we are GMT plus 12. The mic cover. This isn't a mic cover. This is actually, this is green stuff which is bonded directly onto the microphone. I was thinking about actually doing like a mic sleeve in foam rubber of the same sort of thing, so you could just slide it over top of your microphone, possibly make it out of silicone. Would anybody be interested in something like that? I'm sure there's some streamers who would like to have a mimic microphone. Yeah, it's been a little while, Stanchgate, since I've done a live stream. Just been busy. Christmas time, you know, holiday season, start of the year sort of thing. No, it's not a cheese dungeon. So I was thinking of doing a dragon encounter. So this is a dragon adventure, dragon lair adventure. A classic, right? Does the mimic have a name? No. What if green stuff is mimic essence? Yeah. You'd buy one? Good. Also, I've got a link down. This is the Deeply Nerdy merch. For those of you who have wondered what the Deeply Nerdy shirt looks like, this is what it looks like. It looks very similar to Matt Colville's MCDM shirt, except the colors are a little bit more complicated and a little bit more metallic. And although my color's a bit washed out, they're quite vibrant, as you can see. So you can get that through my Spring store. Links in the description of the video. There's a slight delay on the adventure that we're going to be having. Esper, the Bard, and I, and a couple of others are going to be doing a live stream game, but there's a delay of a couple of weeks because of an emergency which has happened with Esper, and thoughts going out to him and his family. Can't go into details. Yeah? Okay, well, let's talk about Mike the Mimic. Yeah, that's a good name for him. Deeply 80s, yeah. It is shiny. I think Mike the Mimic pretty much nails it. Yeah, we're going to do a dragon. We're going to do a... I'm not sure what it's going to look like on the page, but let's go to the page and have a get started. And hopefully my microphone is not too muted here. I'm just going to pull it over. There we go. Hello, it's me. Cup of coffee. Last dregs of my cup of coffee. Some cheese. Just reminding everybody that super chats are enabled. Ooh, bad focus. If you want to pay your way into shaping this encounter, this adventure, you certainly can. It's much appreciated. AJ's going to buy more cheese. So, let's say we've got a bunch of 4th level adventurers. That's a nice sweet spot for a pickup game. Yeah, what kind of a dragon? Bree's doing great. She's really loving summer. This is her first summer. I may possibly paint the paper brown with. Look, I really, I don't care. This is fine. We're not professionals here. So this is a dragon encounter, 4th level dragon adventure. Now, I'm going to go with an evil dragon. So that's our primary mover and shaker, is an evil dragon. And we want to take into effect the Lair effects and regional effects. And we want to build a town and NPCs. And we want plots. So those are the things these are the things that I'm thinking of, right? I'm integrating and weaving these things together. Can we have one Ixadarchittles in the dungeon? Okay. The dragon has an evil manta ray. Oops. Pet in a jar. There you go. Thanks for the Bronze Dragon for 11 months, Moonring. Mercury Dragon, the Walls of Poison. The live thumbnail for my stream here is some artwork by, let's see if I can find it again. Try not to disrupt everything I'm doing here. It's art by David Abauff, Abouaf. So you should be able to find that on ArtStation or DeviantArt or something like that. David Abauff. And it's just a top-down view of a wooden interior of a stone tower. There you go. I don't want to get too exciting with the worm, with the dragon itself. We're looking at a kind of a basic thing here. Yeah, no ancient dragons. Nothing that's going to cause a volcano. 4th level dragon is going to be, yeah, just adult. Green dragons are pretty good. Mind Flayer dragon would be horrific. Oh, we could also go Fizbans. So in our little sleepy town, let's give ourselves a little map here, regional map. A few mountains. And so with encounters, I kind of break it up into how long the game is going to go. So let's say your average game is about 4 hours. A good hour of that is going to be getting to know the characters and just introducing the town and NPCs, their arrival, and establishing the reason why they're there, and getting to talk to at least one NPC. So this would be the stranger in the corner of the tavern. They see a message board in the town. They talk with somebody in a marketplace. They have a divination from some local fortune teller. They have a sign or a portent at a temple. They have a chat with the wagon captain that they've come in with. They talk to a local merchant. They are seeking a particular type of item. They've got something to sell from a previous adventure, and they hear about this evil dragon. It's become a problem. It's become a problem that's critical. For it's maybe time sensitive. Like there's a festival coming up, and the dragon has made it known that it's unhappy about something, and it's going to wreck the festival. And the local lord has said the festival is very important to our town, and the dragon is very bad, and this is going to mess up our whole economy, and we need to sort it out. But there's just a lack of young, able-bodied idiots who are out to get a name for themselves as adventurers. And of course, adventurers don't necessarily have the best reputation. Adventurers don't necessarily have the best reputation. So here's our town. Basic terrain here, we've got a town, a lake, some nice countryside, forests that get progressively more rugged as we go up in the elevation. We've got a river that we could possibly take. We've got waterfalls and things like that. Rivers are usually a pretty good source of like a method of getting from A to B. We've got a high lake here, and let's say that the Dragon's Lair is in the highest mountain somewhere up here. And there's our lair. Possibly it's a high forest if it's a green dragon. Let's go with a green dragon. And of course this lake would be the green dragon's possibly toxic lake, maybe. The green dragon, of course, would have an advantage here because it could poison the lake and affect the entire town's livelihood. So it's in a position of dominance. It's got that doomsday of ruining their lives if they're very dependent on fish and things. Whoop. Sorry, my chat got horribly lagged there. Rival dragons demand you steal from each other's horde. Ooh, that's good. A slime controlling a dragon skeleton. We could complicate that. We could have our dragon lair. So we've got our acid lake here. Which comes out of a cave complex, maybe. So the lair is basically the source of water. Could be that the glacial melts have formed rivulets and things which form a cave complex inside the mountain itself. So the green dragon is going to spend half its time in its lair and half its time in the water and half its time in the forest. So that's 3 halves, by the way, for those of you who weren't paying attention. So the town has basically said, look, we need you to go and sort out this dragon because enough is enough. The tribute that we've given it has been more than sufficient. And this thing's gone crazy. It's demanding more and more, and we just can't tolerate it. And we'll deny all evidence of your involvement. So probably we're going to deal with local lord. Whatever the source of the payment is, perhaps an expert, possibly someone who survived a dragon battle. Actually, I like this idea of inside this lair is that skeleton and possessed ooze of the former dragon. So inside the lair is this dragon's rival or mentor. It would make sense that a green dragon would lord it over its greatest accomplishment, vanquishing the former denizen of this lair. And perhaps it was the one who cast the ritual that trapped that essence of that dragon into the ooze in that skeleton. And it makes sense that an acidic ooze in a skeleton would be a great minion for an acid-spewing and acid-resistant dragon, possibly. Perhaps it's a black dragon. All right, kobolds. Let's talk about kobolds. Acid kobolds. Ooze kobolds, even. Hey, thanks, Stanscape. What if one of the dragon's henchmen is a human juiced up on dragon blood? That could be the someone who survived the dragon battle, or the expert with an ulterior motive. To gather dragon parts. Perhaps they're addicted to dragon blood. Of course, my go-to is always sneaky kobolds who will eventually be traitors. Sneaky Kobold Guide. So, of course, it's in the kobold's best interest to get adventurers to go to the lair, to get killed, so they can grab the treasure off the, say, this is what we presented to you, master. These adventurers to entertain you. Of course, if it all goes pear-shaped and the master dies, that's terrible for the kobolds, but, there you go. So we could have 2 actual encounter locations. We could have, or 3 locations. We could have temporary lairs in all 3 locations. So encounter 1. Well, encounter 1 is really the establishing our quest in the town. And then 2 is our travel through the wilderness to the site of the main sort of stuff going on. And that would normally be some sort of random encounter. And since you've got limited time, it could be avoidable. And fairly minor. So it could be bandits, owlbear, goblins, etc. Just something wandering around in the wilderness beyond the town's borders, in the sort of badlands going up into the mountains. And bandits is a pretty good option. And you want to keep the group, like if so owlbear would be good because it's just one owlbear. And bandits can be dangerous, goblins can be dangerous because they are groups. So you want to limit the numbers of groups based on your 4th level adventure. So then when they get to the lake, there's a little bit of so this could be encounter 3, 4, and 5. So 3 and 4 would be options. You could opt whether they are capable of going into an aquatic adventure in underground, under the water, or stick to the forest, something they can handle. And this would be a brief encounter, possibly with the dragon, or a hint of the dragon, and you're dealing now with the regional effects of the dragon. So you're in its territory. You're within that 6-mile range of its lair. So this is where you read up on what the lair, the regional effects of the dragon are, and you tailor some sort of encounter, whether it's just a foreshadowing of what they're going to be facing. So you want to build anticipation and a little bit of mystery, and with that, that mystery comes fear and immersion. And also you're establishing the environment. You're describing the environment, and they're bushwhacking now. They're really going through, they're really into it. They're really adventuring through the wilderness and heading towards a dungeon of some kind. And there could be all sorts of stuff here. If the expert is taking along with them, they could get wind of the fact that this guy's going to betray them or something. And they may have to get rid of their expert before they even get there. Someone who survived the dragon battle may not go any further. They may say, look, I've led you here. This is as far as I'm going to go. I'm leaving now, and sort of leave them in the lurch. The sneaky kobold guides and traitors could put them in some sort of horrible trap here where they get captured by the dragon and taken back to its lair. That's also an interesting option if you've got particularly skilled and experienced players who don't mind giving up a little bit of agency. They may be captured by the dragon and dumped in its lair. the hubris and arrogance of the dragon may just leave their items and equipment with them. If they're 4th level adventurers, they're not going to have particularly strong stuff. The dragon may possibly steal their valuables and any obviously magical items, but it may otherwise just leave them intact and put them in a rickety cage. The arrogance of the dragon being its downfall. Oh, my chat is lagging. Sorry, people. Moonring, thank you. Could Ixotil cast Cleric spell out of its jar? Yes, it could. Thanks, Adam. What minions does the dragon have? Kobolds, orcs, goblins, cultists? Probably not cultists, and at this level we don't want to get it too overly complicated because we're dealing with like a limited time frame of 4 hours or so. We want to get this done as a one shot. So 3 and 4 are optional, and you can involve the minions right from the get-go. You can have the minions involved right from the very start, so they're actually infiltrated the town, because the dragon, particularly if it's a green dragon, is very interested in getting information about everything. So it's keeping close watch on everything. You may have such creatures as spectators. Spectators look like beholders, which can be scary as hell if you don't explain that to the players. But they are, in fact, minor versions of beholders that really just observe. They're minions, they're toadies, they're beholder toadies. Looks like a snork. Spectators are good. Other creatures like trained basilisks or something like that can be very dangerous. Again, you want to be mindful of the fact that 4th level adventurers don't have a lot of resources and things, and they're far from home now. So it's perfectly okay for them to get their asses kicked on one of these sub-adventures here and retreat and then attempt this later on, So it may be a one-shot that they do multiple times. But spectators are a good thing that pop out of the wilderness, or spectators are under the water or something like that. Could have something really exotic like a spectator jellyfish. Thanks, Neazriel. Don't take my donation as a command, but maybe the oozes are Oblex colony who consumed dragon memories. Oh, that's great. I like it. Yeah, well, that doesn't change things overly much. It could be a possessed ooze. You would use the Oblex stat block exactly the same as it is, essentially. Now, it could be that this skeleton is that possessed skeleton, which is under the control of the young green dragon, which vanquished it, is looking to just kill this damn dragon, and it sent out minions of its own. So if it's a case of the Oblex, maybe it sent out little ooze minions, Guanadarians or something like that. It could possibly send out a mimic, a trained intelligent mimic, which approaches the characters very carefully to inform them that there's a backdoor into this dungeon complex. Possibly, if they interact with that mimic and don't kill it on sight as murder hobos, they can avoid Adventure 3 and 4, Encounter 3 and 4, and go directly to 5. 5 being, of course, the end boss encounter. And what does that look like? Well, you don't want your dungeon lair to be overly complicated, because as soon as you give them decision trees that don't have any option, like don't have any obvious thing, like do you go left or right, it's gonna hold things up quite a lot. And one of the things I like doing is I have a theme in the dungeon which clearly signposts which way the characters are supposed to go, with just basic understanding of what's going on. So if they can smell chlorine coming from this direction and nothing coming from this direction, they'll know that that's the way that the dragon is. Something as simple as that. And it's building that immersion in the environment. So you're basically leading them that way anyway. They can go and look this way, and it may be something like, there's a treasure there in the corner, but yeah, there's hella traps in here. And of course, they may get stuck, and the dragon may come and listen, like it may hear them sneaking around in here, setting off traps, which are alarms. It could have shrieker mushrooms. And of course, the dragon has now got them cornered. They're cut off, and there's a bottleneck here, and they're in deep, deep trouble. So their greed may get the best of them there. Avoid the dragon and go for the easy bait, and then the dragon nabs them. If they've got the kobold guide along with them and it hasn't been revealed so far, the kobold guide sneaks off and goes, "Hey, the adventurers are here." Whoops. And of course, this leads to the Chamber of the Dragon. No need to get overly complicated. It's got a back door. It's got the prison that it keeps the dragon ooze in, the ooze skeleton. It's my ooze skeleton. Perhaps it's just got its head sticking out. And of course, your dragon is over here in the corner. Just a young dragon. It's a big chamber. It's got a water source in here, possibly separating it from the other dragon there. The water source is also a secret back door. It takes it out of here. Hooks up with this back door tunnel here. So we've got obvious back door entrance, secret back door. Possibly something like split terrain. So the dragon's on high ground, creating some sort of an obstacle. Not overly complicated, really. By this stage, the terrain is less important than the fact that you're facing a dragon itself. And now you're in Lair effects. And the dragon, of course, is annoyed. And, of course, it's kind of a toxic environment. So the longer this fight drags on, possibly, the more poisoned the characters may become. Now, of course, you could know some secret facts, like if the expert, someone who survived the dragon battle, knows that there's a lever over here which opens the cage. Or there is a way to sneak in here and go through one of these trap doors, and there's like a little subterranean bit that the lake drips down into, some limestone, say, and it leads to underneath the cage here, or it leads to a way to get into the lake here and sneak up on the dragon. So you could have some adventurers who make a noise over here, then the bulk of them come out and sideswipe the dragon. If their encounter with an NPC in the town was like a fortune teller or something, they could indicate through mysterious signs and portents and foretell things like the fact that there's 3 ways in to encounter the dragon. And the adventurers would get there and go, well, we can only see 2. There must be a 3rd, possibly, or something. Or they may indicate a particular color or a particular theme or a particular symbol that they see that doesn't make any sense until you're in the trap room, and then all of a sudden it indicates exactly which one of these, say it's a statue of a monkey, that indicates that's the way to get in to beat the dragon. So they would have symbols that they give to the adventurers, and the adventurers, when those symbols pop up in the adventurer, they know that that's the way to go, because that's the way the fortune teller told them would be their path to success. Oh man, chat is being really buggy. Thanks, Mike. Low level. I like the idea of a party dealing with dragon minions, never know who Puppet Master really was. Yeah. What if there's a trapdoor that leads to a monster? Yeah. Well, it could be that this they've been led to believe that this ooze thingy is actually on their side, but in actual fact, it's just insane. But we don't want it to basically, eat them. Don't open that trapdoor! oh, there's something down there. Yeah. It could be something which seems horrific, like a flump, but in actual fact is a benefit. The flumps have been sitting there underneath safely in this chamber here, absorbing the evil thoughts of this dragon, kind of keeping a lid on it a little bit. They've been its Prozac, so to speak. You land down in there and the flumps are like, oh man, why'd you have to bust? Why'd you have to bust into our sweet scene? The spectator may actually be working against its will. It could be working for a beholder that's in the town. The beholder could be polymorphed into another form as Thieves Guild, or possibly the expert who is looking for dragon parts. It created a bunch of spectators, hoping they would go in there and steal dragon parts. The spectators got mind controlled by the green dragon. You know? Perhaps the beholder lair is somewhere in this lake or this forest. Perhaps there's some ankegs and perhaps there's some ettercaps and giant spiders in the forest. Perhaps there's Ixadarchittles who are trying to rescue their prince who is trapped in the evil manta ray pet in a jar. See, it all ties together, you see? Yeah, flumps are great monsters. All right, let's zip back to me. Back to me. So it all sort of ties together, is what I'm getting at. And it's very adaptive. So these encounters, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, can take place at any time, and they can be skipped, and you can land in there. You don't even necessarily need to tell the adventurers what order they're supposed to go somewhere. They could completely avoid the lake and the forest. They could go directly to the lair. They could have some means of getting from the town to the lair almost immediately. Imagine if they grab one of the spectators in the town and ride it back to the lair. Like, hook onto the damn thing and, like, track it. So there's all sorts of options in a relatively straightforward and simple adventure. This is what I'm saying. You don't have to get overly complicated with the end boss or anything like that. The adventure itself can be quite complex. If you just have those interlocking parts and extrapolate ways that they could go. And these don't need to all be going on at the same time. It depends on the player's focus. So if they focus on the local lord, make the local lord more involved in the adventure. If they focus on the expert they talk to and the dragon parts and things, there could be an evil wizard of Thay who's crafting some sort of, like, maybe it made the spectre out of the body parts of the old dragon. They could be very interested in grabbing a part of the Ooblex because a sentient ooze is extremely valuable as an alchemist. Someone who survived the dragon battle could have nightmares. They could be linked into the thoughts and dreams of the green dragon because the green dragon got into its head, you know, and he's now linked to the green dragon somehow. Or perhaps he got tainted with dragon blood and now has sorcerous powers that they don't know how to control. Bit of wild magic never goes amiss. The sneaky kobold guides and traitors could be former loyal captains of the trapped, possessed Ooblex and are actually working against the dragon. You never know. Hill giants are a great random encounter as well. Just be very careful because hill giants, never trust a wizard, never trust a kobold. Hill giants can throw boulders, and those boulders can be wicked bad for lower level characters. I learnt that very early on in 4th edition. Yeah, follow it through a portal for sure. There could be a very good reason, some sort of mystical reason why this lair is so valued by the dragons. It's not just because it's a nice cushy hole in the ground close to a water source. It could be a source of magic. In fact, I've got a friend who's got a campaign running at the moment where the dragons draw a type of energy, almost like worship, from their treasure. And the more valued and famous their treasure becomes, the more energy they draw from it as dragons. It's mystical. It doesn't really make sense. But in that way, it's kind of like a divine source, and it explains the tremendous greed of dragons that they want and are so focused on their hoard, because their innate spell-like powers are actually driven by their treasure hoard. And it's possible for them to sit on their hoard and absorb its infamy to the point where if people forget about them and forget about the hoard, and the hoard loses its power. So they wake up from their slumber and go, oh, okay, I need to reestablish my mojo. Out they go, and they seed like this greed amongst populace, so that they want that treasure, and the treasure starts to get powered up. So the more infamous a treasure is, the more they want it. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Just have no rocks for the hill giants. I'm perfectly fine with them ripping plants out of the ground, trees out of the ground, stripping the branches off, and hurling them like javelins, or hurling them, and the tree trunks just go whoosh, 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 and smash into things. I don't have a video on the Dead 3, no. Yeah, so letting more people see your treasure so they can admire it is a good thing. Got it. Yeah, exactly right. Thanks, Comic Guy. Might be late, but going to have another D&D session tonight with the Big Pockets maps. Once again, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Oh, thanks, man. By the way, if you check out the blurb below the video here, you'll see me mention dndwow.com. If you go to dndwow.com, you can actually purchase Silicon maps, Silicon Battle maps from the Kickstarter. I've still got some stock there, and if we get a lot of orders, then we can put in another production run. So those are available. Also, there's these dice sets here. This is the hollow dice from D&D WoW. They're a hollow, so they're a hollow metal dice set. So they're actually very lightweight and don't damage your table. They've got beveled edges and everything, and they've got a theme of dragons and shields and swords and stuff. You can kind of see it there. It also comes with a little carry bag. Really nice. Really nice dice. They've got a lot of different dice there. If you type in gluestick, you can get a discount. A gold dragon hosting a museum would be a power play, for sure. Green's favorite treasure is usually gemstones. Yeah, no, the thing that we do with D&D WoW dice is we design them for use. So they're beveled edges, which means they're smooth in your hand. They don't scratch up surfaces and stuff. We've actually been developing these high quality dice. Yeah, this wouldn't be the Hill Giants' home turf. They would just be camping out next to the lake, maybe. A bit frustrated that they can't get any fish out of there because the fish are all poisoned. Maybe the Hill Giants are actually weakened, making them a better short encounter for some 4th level adventurers because they've eaten poison fish, which lets you know that there's something wrong with the lake. It's like, okay, we're getting closer to the source of the green dragon, which is poisoning the fish, and that's got the local townsfolk really angry. And of course, poisoned hill giants are a much easier encounter to deal with. In fact, you might not even need to fight them at all. Just tell them, stop eating the fish. I'm like, huh? Stop eating the fish. The fish are poisoning you. Oh, little people make brain. Green dragons are generally evil. They can be a lawful evil or a neutral evil. Or chaotic evil. They're generally evil, though. They're very manipulative. Give the giants a vomit-style attack for flavor? Absolutely. Also, yeah, explosive diarrhea doesn't go amiss. Yeah, greens are, on paper, lawful evil. Stop eating the fish? Yeah. Could be ogres. Ogres are also great. Yeah, it could be that the plants are actually the forest encounter. Some sort of carnivorous plant. Blights. Blights are a really good low-level encounter. Or a something like a grey render is a good encounter. That's like friends with one of the ogres. It's like the grey render's unhappy that the ogre has been poisoned by fish. Or possibly it's a kobold. Like the grey render has latched onto a kobold as its buddy. Yeah, Black Dragons is extremely evil. Chaotic evil. Teenager dragon. Yeah. Little people have good brain. Eat little brain, make my brain better. Yeah, that's ogre logic for you. Yeah, dragons for me are more thematic. I don't stick with alignments as written. What's the other thing I'm thinking of? It's a Shambling Mound. Shambling Mound is also a good single encounter for a toxic or warped forest. Explosive diarrhea, yeah. Last 9 minutes of the stream. Didn't it go fast, everybody? So there we have it. We have a basic homebrew adventure, one shot with 4 or 5 encounters. This would probably run about 4 or 5 hours. And yeah, you could have something like a little fishing village, just like a fishing shack, possibly with a disguised hag in the encounter 3 and 4 area between the lake and the forest. The hag, of course, would be just enjoying the maliciousness of the conflict. Hags are just pure evil. They just like evil. They like causing pain and suffering. Wait, didn't the stream just start? I know, it's quick, isn't it? If the Ixadzar Chittle in the jar is some sort of a noble or a sorcerer or a vampire or something like that, it could actually possibly fly. Sea hag, yep. Also, don't forget there's aquatic trolls called scrags, which could easily live in an acidic lake. Nasty frost hags, yeah, sure. Cataplebus, if it was more of a marshy area, for sure. Cataplebus would be a good combination with a green dragon because, of course, they're also fairly toxic and cloudy and nasty. It could be that the expert that you're tagging along with is actually a harvester of Cataplebus milk for making infamous death cheese. But it's just become too dangerous lately with spectators and kobolds and dragons and stuff like that around. But the demand for death cheese doesn't end. Do us all a favor and write a novel. I do write in my YouTube videos because I do script and I use Grammarly. It actually tracks how much I write. And according to Grammarly, I wrote 430,000 words last year. So that's about 4 novels. I don't think that writing novels would make me as much money, but who knows? Yeah, every time something bad happens, there's probably a hag behind it. That's true. Thanks, Cosmonaut. Can you multi-class in Rifts? Yes, you can. That's a bizarre segue. Yeah, you can. Glitter Boy, Dog Boy Pilot. Cheese Elemental. What do you call a male hag? Generally speaking, there aren't male hags. There are the offspring of hags. I think actually, if you get the Rashomon book that just came out recently on DM's Guild, there is a they've got stats on the Tear, Spirit Folk, and Hag Spawn. So hag spawn are the children of hags and people. Yeah, medium-sized, live to 120 years. Do have dark vision. They've got a fiendish heritage, natural armor class. Armor class 13 plus a dexterity modifier. Ability score increase is your strength and constitution scores increase by 2. They're normally chaotic evil alignment, and they're very, very hardy. And they have names like Bellow, Fury, Grip, Longstrider, Rager, Steadfast, Trusty, or Whirlwind. And they live kind of outside of society. Rifts? Who's talking about that? Yeah, I know. Shall we have a Palladium rule system live stream at some point? That would confuse everybody, since I'm so closely associated. I'm a master of the game. Hello, Juice. Heroes Unlimited, still one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, absolutely. Heroes Unlimited, Night Spawn, Beyond the Supernatural, Ninjas and Super Spies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Robotech, Phase World, 3 Galaxies, Triax. AJ is vulnerable to the word rifts. Yep. I am as clued up on rifts as I am on anything in Dungeons and Dragons, for sure. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that. Sure. People can either tune into the live stream or not. It's up to them. All right. All right. Next live stream will be a Palladium Books live stream. How's that? Stay tuned. Palladium's been around for a very, very long time. Almost as long as Dungeons and Dragons itself. I think I'll mostly be talking to people who play Palladium Books stuff, so they don't really need to know Rift's lore in a live stream. Like, as far as lore videos goes, I know where my bread is buttered. And that's Dungeons and Dragons. There just isn't enough people playing Palladium Books to justify me making lore videos on it. But I can certainly indulge in a live stream. We can go deep in an hour or two. AJ's safe word is Palladium. Possibly. My safe word is not in the face, not in the face. All right, everybody, that's it from me. Have a great day or great evening. More live streams coming soon. I hope that provided some inspiration on how I plan an adventure. Very, very sort of free-flowing. Not a great level of detail. I get more into the detail at the actual table. I'm very much a sandboxy sort of DM, and I do a lot of improv. By the way, I do recommend, if you like my style of play, that it is very much in tune with Sly Flourish's Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. You can pick this up from Sly Flourish themselves or the DM's Guild. It's really good. Very to the point. They've got an adventure building checklist. They've got quotes from Mike Mills and lots of other people in here. Wolfgang Bauer and Christopher Perkins, various others. Checklists for outlining potential scenes, example scenes for Scourge of blah, blah, blah. Primary purpose of peace of mind, prepare to throw it away. Lots of... the idea is that you prepare what you need and you don't prepare what you don't. But they basically identify a lot of points in there where people over-prepare things for adventures that you don't necessarily need. All right. Catch you later.